Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Friday. You know what that means? It's Burrito Friday. Let's get chomping. Again, I apologize, guys. Some of the stuff I come up with, it probably will not continue moving forward. We'll just leave it at Burrito Friday. So, today it's going to be real quick, real short. But here's the thing. We've been talking about the different layers of what you need to have once you have that job or once you're working towards that next thing. But how about when you're given the opportunity to come in to talk to somebody new and let them know what you've done for the last 8 years within about half hour to an hour with questions, right? I'm talking about interviews. So what do you need to have ready for an interview? I'm just going to go through a quick couple things that I usually have in my hands, in my folder, when I come in. So number one, your resume. Make sure you print your resume. Do not assume that the hiring company, HR person, staffer, whatever their position is, that they're going to have your resume in hand. Just don't believe that they're going to do that. Just because you don't want to be caught off guard. So my basic rule is 3. I always print 3 of my resumes unless I'm told it's going to be a panel of 4 or 5, and then I just make sure I print enough for everybody that's there. Now, with that, make sure that when you print it, if you have more than one page, well, one, try to keep your resume within one page. And I don't mean formatted all weird or so small font that you can't even read it. No, you want to make sure that you have bulk information in there that makes sense to have in there. And things that don't need to be in there, start removing it and bring it down. But if you do need to have more than one page, I would suggest only printing on one side of the page. Do not staple your resume. Go ahead and paper clip it together. It's just easier for them when you're in your interview so they can take their notes, read it, all that. So that's rule number 1. Number 2, make sure to bring yourself a notepad and pen. This way, I've had a lot of panel style interview questions where they ask you certain things within that question, so it's easier to write it down to make sure you get your thoughts together. I do like to talk, off the fly, but at the same time, you do want to make sure you hit all the points. So if you write it down and you start answering the questions, you can easily check it off or cross it off and know that you have given a substance answer to the question asked. So you don't want to lose track of where you're going, because sometimes also when you're doing your conversations, you may lean towards one way and forget what the main point is. So that's going to be another 3. Know how to answer certain questions. If you go online, you can always find, top 10 questions asked in an interview, or you can ask somebody who's done an interview for that position, or things like that. But one thing that always comes up is, tell me one of your biggest weaknesses. Here, you need to find something that would be actually considered like a strength and use that as your weakness. Let's say like my attention to detail, and people are like, I'm sorry, what? Like that's a weakness? And it's like, yeah, because of my attention to detail, even if something is at the caliber that the client would like, I still scrutinize over it. So I'm starting to learn how to let go of that. Or you can even say something like, I'm trying to think of something else. That's usually the one I use, now you guys know. But yeah, so you find something that's really a strength and then show how it is a weakness, but then that still gives you another strength when the client, when they're interviewing you. So lastly, I'm going to say, make sure you know where you're going. Make sure that you have the correct address, the correct suite number, the correct directions, all that. Verify. Because the worst thing that can happen is for you to be really late to your meeting, right? And that's your impressions are always, you only get one. You only get one first impression. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. You only get one first impression, which means you want to be right on point. So my suggestion is to try to be there half hour early, if not even an hour early. That way you can also reread your resume, reread what they're looking for in the position, and you can kind of gather your thoughts. So make sure you're on time. Do do not be late. And I would say walk up, if you're there like an hour, half hour early, I say walk up 15 minutes before your interview. That way you can show that you're punctual. So with that, guys, oh, and you know what, I'm sorry, lastly, this is a major one. Always, always, always research the company. The company as a whole has an ego. It's going to be there no matter which way you look at it. They're going to have some kind of ego. So you want to make sure that you're stroking that ego, right? You're telling them, hey, I read about the company. I saw where you guys are going. I'm very excited about X, Y, and Z, and this is how I feel like I can come in and be an asset to your company to help you get to where you're planning to go. Because for, nowadays, companies have their websites which have a breakdown of their goals, their aspirations, where the company's going, their mission statement, all these things. Grab them, read them, know what it's about, so that you can make sure that you mesh as well as possible. So, as always, guys, you've been awesome. Don't ever change unless it's to get to that next step. It's Friday, guys. Go enjoy the weekend. I will be on Instagram with the Instagram stories. Make sure you follow me there. And if not, it will be up on Friday it'll be up on Monday as I always do. So